Hi, Jan. Hey, Tim.
Wait.
Oop, let me
Hi.
turn up my volume. There we go.
Oh yeah, clean off that camera. See how mine is.
For myself cloudy.
Oh yeah, covered in fingerprints. All right, 6 o'clock. Looks like we've got a quorum online. I'll call this meeting to order if everybody's ready. Hello.
Hello.
Yes,
Hey,
ready.
Dan.
All right, so for those of you who don't know, I'm going to be running the meeting tonight. Danu is in Florida and won't be attending. And let's see, I don't see anybody else. Is there anybody that's on tonight that's not normally part of PARAB? Or are we expecting anyone else? Jillian, do you know?
As far as I know, we're not expecting anyone, and there's no one in the lobby, so just PARAB.
Great. I didn't hear of anything, so that's makes it easy. Okay. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to review the agenda. Does anybody have any additions? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve, Crawford.
I'll second that.
Anybody opposed? Okay, moving on to the minutes from the last meeting. Hopefully everyone has had a chance to review those minutes. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as entered.
Motion to approve, Crawford.
I guess I'll second it again.
Great, anybody opposed? Okay, moving on. And guessing with the earlier confirmation, probably no public comments. All right, let's move into reports.
All right, so I'll go ahead and share my screen for the director's report. Let me find it real quick. All right, you should be seeing the PDF of my director's report. And before I start going back to the OSAC report, I just want to share that we're doing a recognition for Tim Beeson at the April 15th City Council meeting. He's stepping down as chair, and Dave Conley is going to be taking over as chair. So we're just doing a short thank you at the beginning of the council meeting, if anyone from PARAB is interested. All right, director's report. We have started the Adopt a Park program. We actually got our last major park adopted last week. That was Soda Springs Park. So all of our major parks have been adopted, which is awesome. We were thinking of doing some sort of thank you this year for the volunteers, and usually folks are receptive to t-shirts. So we wanted to pitch to PARAB if you'd be willing to help fund the shirts or cost share for these. And this doesn't necessarily have to be the design. This was a mock-up by our public information officer, but the shirts kind of are a twofold. So one is to thank the volunteers and kind of give them some recognition. And the other is having the shirt in a bright color. So if our volunteers are working near trails or roadways, they're in something bright if they don't have their own safety vests. So I just wanted to pitch that. It's around 700. That was the math we did. If all of our active volunteers right now were to get a shirt, and I will get a formal quote for the next meeting. So I don't think we need to vote tonight, but I just wanted to float the idea to PARAB and see if this is something you'd be interested in funding. And because some of the some of the areas are actually trails, I'm also going to ask OSAC if they're interested in contributing. So that way we have 3 different funding sources for this. But just curious, do you guys like this slogan, or do you have any suggestions for the shirts, even if you aren't funding them? I'm curious.
I like
All right,
them. I love t-shirts.
Yes, they do. So, and I think a light color will be good. And we'll make sure they're good quality too.
I think it's a cute slogan. I like it. And I think the Swimmin' Women will like it.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, they have a pretty good crew, and they're super active at Shoshone Spring Park for sure.
Could you
Hey,
share
Jillian.
what the words are on the shirt? I can't actually read on my little screen here.
Oh, yep. So the front of the shirt says "Respect your mother, nature." It's a "Respect your mother ... nature," and the back says "City of Manitou Springs volunteer." And we went with just one color of font to minimize costs, but we also wanted volunteer really big across the back. So when people are spotted in the park, maybe people will come up to them and ask questions about how to volunteer. So that could help spread our Adopt a Park program also. So it's kind of like free, not free, but it's kind of like advertising as well. We're
Jillian, I just
continuing.
wanted to, probably you're already thinking of this, but like I know when my wife gets a t-shirt, she's always so happy when they actually have the women's cut t-shirt. So I would just encourage you to do both.
Okay.
Like in
I
races,
second that.
in
I
races,
second that. I hate those
everybody
sweat.
just used to get the same t-shirt and she never wore any of them. And then finally they got with the program and started doing
Mm-hmm.
women's, which is more of a V-neck, and they fit a lot better.
Okay, well, thanks for the feedback. That is important for sure. Especially, yeah, if we want them to wear the shirts. So thank you. All right, we are still seeing an issue with dog waste at Fields Park. My theory is that, and this is just a theory, but maybe some of the neighbors are letting their dogs out and they're using Fields Park as a dog park of some sort. But the issue is we're finding a lot of dog waste where the soccer field is, where we have the kids playing soccer in the evenings. So I know I talked about this at the last PARAB meeting, but I just wanted to give PARAB an update. We've reposted a PSA and we've installed a few additional signs, but there's only so much you can do with signs, and we don't want to pollute Fields Park with too many signs. So those are the steps we've taken, is the PSA and a couple of additional signs. I am working with Cassandra, our PIO, on the disc golf survey that we mentioned at our last meeting. So I'll be meeting with her this week to come up with some questions, and we plan to post the survey later this month and just assess people's interest in what they'd like to see the property used for at 0 Becker's Lane. And I know that's further on the agenda tonight also. We have our Soda Springs Phase 2 update. So you're the first to hear this, PARAB. The completion date has actually been moved up, which is something we don't hear often. But the playground equipment is going to be delivered ahead of schedule. And so the original project completion was the first week of June. It's now estimated for May 23rd. So I wanted to share that with the group. We're still keeping the grand reopening planned for the beginning of June, because you never know what could happen between now and then. So the public grand reopening will be the start of June, but the project should be complete by May 23rd. So very exciting news. City Council formally voted on the Soda Springs parking adjustment. So during special events, there's no more parking behind the Bud Ford Pavilion except for one loading and unloading vehicle that can be there. And then special event staff can reserve the parking spaces along Park Avenue. And that's something they'll work out with our parking department. A quick Manitou update. The damage is more extensive than we originally had looked at with Crane. So we just had an artist do a full assessment of the damage on Manitou. And what he did was he divided Manitou into 18 different sections. And he found that 5 of those 18 sections need repaired pretty immediately to prevent further damage. And the issue, this is his theory, that the grout used was not outdoor quality grout, and it's just essentially dissolving into this white powder, and it's making the tiles really easy to pick off. So another thing I'll have for you guys next month is a quote for the full repair, because I know last year you voted to repair that one section that was chipping, and that was about $900. But now we know the damage is much larger. So I'll bring a quote for you guys next month, but I just wanted to let you know that I will be requesting PARAB to fund this if you're interested in the full repair. And then we have 2 positions open as far as staffing goes. We're hiring one more seasonal downtown beautification technician, and we have reopened our city arborist position. That's a full-time position. So those are both on our city website. We have our new cemetery caretaker. Her name is Rachel. She started on St. Patrick's Day. We have our new parks maintenance worker. His name is Barron. He also started on St. Patrick's Day. Our seasonal forestry technician, Mike, started a couple Mondays ago. And we have our seasonal parks maintenance staff starting in mid-April and then mid-May. And I have one more update for you guys, since you are the tree committee and we don't have our acting arborist on tonight, but we are hosting an Arbor Day tree planting event on Friday, April 25th. That's officially Arbor Day. The proclamation was read at the last city council meeting, and it's from 1 to 5. So we'll be planting at least 5 trees in the library park on that day. They'll include oaks, native maples, maybe a catalpa tree, and a couple of pines. And we'll also have our representative from the Colorado State Forest Service there. So that's the 25th from 1 to 5 at Library Park. So with all of that, any questions?
A lot of that sounds great. I mean, okay, more expense on Manitou, but
Yeah.
great news on Soda Springs Park. I'm a little bit nervous anytime somebody says catalpa. We have a checkered history with the catalpa, right, Jan?
Right.
Checkered is an interesting word.
So would the tree board so we have a big question mark next to catalpa on our plan for Library Park. Would you recommend just not even bothering with trying to plant a catalpa?
Well, I don't remember if we've only tried one or if there have been multiple. But I know we've had trouble getting a catalpa to take
Okay.
there.
And I don't know if it was having trouble getting it to take or just damage from snow, riders, if you will, running into it in the winter. I don't know. The location wasn't great. I don't know.
Yeah, they're beautiful trees. I guess I would defer to the forester. If they say they were the right zone for the catalpa, I'd say go for it. But
Okay.
it's definitely not worked for us before.
I'll
And we
double check
tried
on
for
the
a long
catalpa.
time. There was like a catalpa saga.
Okay. Well, that's good information. So thank you.
And everything with the library park is location, location, location. As I'm sure you know.
Right.
It's a revered area for kids and families, not only during snow and sledding, but also in the summer for music events and other kinds of gatherings. So yes, we need to do trees there. Not sure location.
Would PARAB be interested in seeing the locations before we plant? I'd be happy to share a map. It is something we're having our state forestry folks look at because we are without a formal city arborist right now. So we want to make sure wherever we're shadow planting, we're planting in the right spots. So I'm happy to share a map with PARAB before the Arbor Day event.
I'm kind of thinking, Tim, Chris, we really need to have some input from people that have been in the area for a while and have used that area. So what do you think?
I would say for what it's worth, I mean, sledding generally happens on the northwest side of the park. So I mean, I would assume we already would be avoiding things that are down near the wall anyway, but that's
Right.
probably the highest collision danger area. Outside of that, I don't know if I would have any other specific input. I would honestly defer to the state forester in terms of the advice for where to go.
I was thinking the same, yeah. So trees up higher in the park. And keep in mind where the sewer line is.
Right.
And I was curious if you had any type of update about how the repairs went at the library and because I know that they had some vandalism to the sewer system or something, and anyway.
Yeah.
Off
Yeah,
the
we had
topic
lots of
trees.
restroom issues. And actually they all happened while Kevin, our facilities maintenance supervisor was on vacation in New Hampshire. But the repairs have been made at the library, and I believe the big water line repair they were doing at the base of Library Park is also complete. So our last piece that we're working on right now is getting our irrigation up and running, connecting the new system to the old system, so the top of the park to the bottom of the park, and that'll be up and running by the first week of May. So we're excited to get some water back in there, and to help with our tree watering once we get planted.
I really like the tree. I think it's still there, up by the southeast corner as you're walking up to the school. Like, it's a flowering tree. I can't remember what kind, but it's beautiful. And I think, like Jan said, the library is such a kind of a focal point. I think flowering trees could be nice, but something that doesn't, yeah, I don't know, something lovely, of course. I bet Danu has ideas too.
Okay.
And maybe, since we lost so many on the far south side, the mature silver maples, be nice to have one or two at least of some sort that could become big there and be shade trees on
I
the
think I
south
heard
side.
I think I heard
Um,
maple on the list, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm not
native
sure the
maples are on the
location.
list.
Mhm. Okay. Any more questions for Jillian on her report? Okay, next up is council liaison.
So, yeah, I was trying to think about it. I'm not sure that I have any updates particular to PARAB to share tonight. Obviously, we're just kind of trying to figure out, grants and how things are going to work as far as budgeting and things like that. I haven't heard much, from GoCo as far as how things are going, but I mean, we're getting hit right federally, but then also the state is cutting funding like crazy to balance their budget. So, so just an awareness of that and taking advantage of things when they become available. But I don't have any updates outside of that. Jillian did the Arbor Day piece and all of that. So I don't know. Any questions?
Thanks for what you do.
I used the bathrooms at the library on Saturday. They worked really well.
Thanks, Natalie.
All right.
Okay, and then we've got references to minutes for OSAC. I don't think we have anything else to add, Jillian?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. All right, moving on. So I added under new business funding request from Crane for 2D art installations similar to what we've already put in Fields Park. So per the last meeting, I'd reported that Crane was applying for, or had already received a significant amount of funding from URA, and then was applying for additional funding for more installations from ENT. Unfortunately, Crane was not awarded any funding from ENT, and even more frustrating, they didn't even receive like an explanation for what may or may not have been lacking from their application. But anyway, they didn't get additional funding. And Audrey Gray was not able to be present for the meeting today, but asked me to make a funding request as a follow-up. Now, just to review, they're working to try to get up to 15 new installations, including basically from kind of the highway overpass all the way east to include the URA area. And what they are asking for is for PARAB to fund up to 2 new installations in what will become the park that's at 0 Beckers now. So I think first, I think any approval is contingent upon getting that, rezoned and official. But I think that this is something that we can discuss now and, qualify any funding pending that. Jan?
So this would be like the installations that are already on the creek walk?
Yes,
Yep, okay.
exactly. This would be
That's what
continuing
I
on the same-
presumed.
Yeah, this would be continuing the same project. So just timeline update. They are working towards a call for art going out either at the end of April or early May, and hoping to have selections made by the end of May. Just let me look. I'm just going to look at my notes here real quick. So just to review the costs, and this was the most recent cost estimate as of March 1st of this year. But to do just one art installation with new posts is $641.50. And that includes the materials such as the posts and the sign. That includes printing, labor for installation, and a $250 artist stipend. And then, if you remember, the intention was to have these oriented so there could be a front and a back with different art on each side, which is part of what they're actually adding to the original installations. But to add a back of sign would be $391. So that would just be for materials for the sign, the artist stipend, printing, and a small amount for labor. So let's see, to do an entire installation with a front and back, the total is $1,032.50 if we were to fund a front and a back. I'll open that up for discussion. What does everybody think?
I do think the front and back will look a lot better. After we had our last meeting, I went and looked at the ones now. And so, yeah, I'm fully in support of the front and back.
I think having two more in the 0 Beckers area, once that's approved, would add to the continuity.
So when you say at the 0 Beckers, you mean along the path that's already there right now?
Yes, it would essentially be along the creek walk path, kind of opposite the home run fence at
Okay.
Mestis Field. The exact locations to be determined.
Definitely front and back. I think we all would agree with that.
And I will say we have, I don't remember the exact amount, but we have $3,000 or $5,000 in our budget item for art in the parks. So if we were going to do two, that would be $2,065. So I will make a motion to add two new two-dimensional art installations in the new 0 Beckers Park along the creek walk, front and back. The total amount is $2,065 from our art in the parks budget. And this, of course, would be pending rezoning and adoption as a park. That was a little bit long. Did you get all that, Candace? Hopefully that's a yes. Any further discussion? May I have a second to that, and then we can vote?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye,
Seeing
aye.
raised hands and thumbs up.
I,
Is there anyone opposed? Looks like that passes unanimously. Oh, Rebecca, it looks like just signed on. Rebecca, do you have any questions? Did you catch that?
Nope, I've been here for the most of the meeting. Yep.
Oh,
no,
you
we're
have.
good.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
sorry. I just noticed you. I just noticed you on the bottom now. I think my screen was up, but okay, great.
Nope, that sounds awesome. Thanks.
Okay, moving on then to old business. Do we have any updates on the Zero Becker's property rezoning timeframe?
As far as I know, it's going to city council for the final approval on April 15th. So after that, it will be a park. Natalie, is that all accurate?
That's accurate, and I don't anticipate
Okay.
any problems. Yeah.
Okay,
Great.
really exciting. Now, I included the item for grant opportunity for Higginbotham Flats Overlook Park for our prior discussion. I don't believe that there was any follow-up to be done at this meeting, but I included that to make sure we didn't miss any updates. I think that was important and want to make sure that that's current on our agenda. Anything? No.
I don't have anything for that.
Okay, great. I'll move on. So I also included disc golf expansion. We got the update about the survey. I don't think that there's anything else to discuss now unless anyone else has any comments or questions.
I just
Chris?
have a comment / question. I'm wondering if we could also consider the area south of Fountain Creek that will be connected to the new property, the Dillon Motel property, where I believe they're going to be eventually installing a bridge to go over the creek to connect to that new parking lot. And I'm wondering if we can consider that area on the other side of the creek for the 3 additional disc golf holes. That might make more sense in terms of like just where the other holes are already. And if that's a newly acquired property, and I don't know if that area could also be zoned as park, but just a thought.
Chris, I think that's a great idea. And I believe we had just kind of scratched the surface on a similar previously, but I think we didn't get very far because of construction of that Holiday Inn, maybe. So I don't remember honestly where we stopped, but I agree with you. I think extending that direction, especially if we had a bridge over the creek, would make a lot of sense. People wouldn't have to walk across the street. It might be more interesting if there was a hole that involved playing across the creek as well. I think that was something that Steve Mole had been interested originally in as well.
Yeah, I think I don't know if Jillian, if you can explore that option for us or
Yeah, I'm happy to talk to the
Organic.
project managers, and maybe we can word the survey more of, are you interested in having a full 9-hole course versus specific locations? So that's something I could look into. And then Natalie, it looked like you might have had some insight.
I think it's a great idea too, but I think Electra Johnson is the director of the URA in that area, and I think she would help you as well. So if you're going to discuss this, I would definitely engage hers additionally.
Okay, great ideas. All right, and then the last item for old business that I included was wanted to keep Candace's idea about a dog park on there, and just to do some follow-up. Has anybody had a moment to cruise around town and identify any locations to consider? Is this something we want to keep discussing for now, or should we put it off to the future?
I say let's keep looking.
Okay.
I think
So
one
some
of
other
the
place that's
reasons,
not Fields.
yeah, so when Jillian was talking about poop, Was it Fields Park or was it the soccer field or was it both?
The complaints we've had are the soccer field area of Fields, so the big flat part in Fields Park. So essentially the Fields part of Fields Park. That's where we're seeing the most
Oh.
dog waste right now.
Yeah, I guess to clarify, not the soccer field that's at Mestis Field. That we're talking about Fields Park. Candace, is that what you were thinking, or?
Yeah, because I've never considered the grass area at Fields Park a soccer field. I've always thought of the soccer field that's on the other side of the baseball area. That's the soccer field. And sometimes people do use that as a dog park.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I'm
the,
just
yeah.
so
maybe
during the
neighborhood.
sports season, we spray paint lines for the preschool through second grade soccer in Fields Park. So it's not an official soccer field, it's just a spray painted rectangle. But that's the area near the disc golf
Yeah.
area.
So every day I go there and I've been taking care of my friends' dogs and throwing balls for them, and I always pick up the poop, but I have seen some old poop just that's dried up by now there. So I know that some people do let their dogs do that, and some people are old too, and I don't think they can lean down very well, so sometimes that happens. And every time after it's been snowing a lot, when the snow melts, and you had said this before, that's when all that stuff becomes clear and surfaces. I think because it's hard to find that stuff when the dogs are pooing, but a lot of it is because dogs are off leash. But anyway, and visitors, visitors who are coming from the what are those, the trailers, not the permanent trailer park, but the RV park. So anyway, I don't know if that sheds any light. It's hard to know. But anyway, I wanted to get clear on that because I know that some people used to use the actual soccer field as a dog park, and then their dogs would poop in there. And I think it's largely because there is not really a grassy area, that's nice and soft and padded for dogs to run around in. So I'm kind of looking for kind of a grassy spot, if possible.
Okay. All right. Well, that is everything that I had on the agenda. Anything that I've neglected?
Tim,
All right.
you're all pro. 35 minutes. You're
Right?
high.
Right? I love it. In that case, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, is what I'm hearing from Colin.
Actually, I thought of one more thing. Sorry, everyone.
It's
Remember?
okay. We can do 37 minutes, Chris. It's no big deal.
Okay, just to like get this kind of brought up again, just we were talking about perhaps partnering with the school district about creating a pump track behind the middle school. So I don't know if there's any way we can move forward somehow in an incremental way on that.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I'd forgotten about that. After the last time we talked about that, which has been a few months, I followed up with Evan Johnson, who is the middle school teacher who had that idea and was working on plans. I encouraged him to present to PARAB and to apply for a mini grant. He has not followed up, and I have not followed up with him since then. So I'm not sure where he is in planning. I know that since then, About that same time, I'd also encouraged him to connect with the mountain bike club, the Manitou Mountain Monsters. So yeah, I don't know which direction he's going in right now, but I can reach back out to him and see where he is. And if he's still working towards that, get him to come back and maybe give us a presentation so we can learn more about where he is.
Sounds good. Yeah, it came up with another parent in town, Ryan Bungie, who works for the pedal station and over at MER, and we are kind of talking about it. So anyway, there's some interested parties, and I think that there's some, you know, room for collaboration.
Okay, thanks for keeping that current, Chris.
Yeah,
I'll check in with Evan and see where he is.
cool.
All right, Colin, I think you're up.
So make a motion to adjourn, is that it? Or second the motion? Motion to adjourn?
I'll make it or second it. Thanks everybody for attending.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks,
Good night.
Sean. Good to see you all.
Have a good
Thanks,
month.
bye.
Yep. Take care.